Hello everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am the Thesteelknight, and let's get to it. Today I want to talk about the Heckler&Koch HK45 and why it's one of the most underappreciated 45s on the market today. Let's do a little history on the firearm first. The HK45 was born out of the U.S. military Joint Combat Pistol Program. This program was the government's solicitation for a .45 caliber replacement for the Beretta M9. The M9 has been in service since it replaced the 1911 and 1990. Battlefield reports had suggested ball 9mm ammo wasn't as effective as .45 bringing down enemy combatants. H&K decided that for their submission, they wanted the next generation of the highly regarded USP line of pistols. They tapped the collective knowledge of Larry Vickers and Ken Hackathorn to lay out what changes could be made to make the gun better and fulfill the needs of the Joint Pistol Program. It ended up not really making a difference, because the military suspended the trials and decided it was cheaper just to keep and upgrade their current stores of M9s than to spend the money to replace it. After the program's cancellation in late 2006, H&K decided they were going to release it to the civilian market, and it rolled off the line in late 2007. The first thing we're always going to do is recheck that the weapon is safe and unloaded. And check. As you can see, this particular HK45 has the date code AI, which is 08. So the pistol is from the first year of production. Let me give you a little history on this particular pistol. I bought this in 2009 for $800, even though mostly they were in the 900 plus range at the time. It was an incredible deal, and for me, it was my first pistol that I had bought for myself. Before this one, I came into possession of a Glock 21 SF. I didn't like it, and I'd always wanted an H&K since before I knew what sight alignment was. I did most of the upgrades on this pistol as they were needed and as HK released them. Although looking at this pistol, you would think it doesn't get fired that much, but this one has actually surpassed the 10,000 round mark. I've used it in competitions, classes, and just general range time. In that time, this HK45 has suffered 0 parts breakage and had only 3 malfunctions. All 3 malfunctions, however, were attributed to being ammo as the culprit. This H&K used to be my bedside gun as well, but I've since retired it from that and now use it just for training and backup in my home defense arsenal. And yes, I'm quite proud that I have a small and ever so humble H&K arsenal. I know, you thought it wasn't possible to use the words H&K and humble in the same sentence. Well, you can. It's super hard, but you can. This particular configuration of this pistol is, of course, not stock. The original barrel was replaced with a threaded barrel when H&K started to produce one. The sights were replaced with HK battle sights. The safety has been upgraded to be ambidextrous, which matches the rest of the stock pistol. Lastly, the few parts inside that were not H&K's match trigger components were replaced with the corresponding match trigger components, and a hole was drilled into the trigger to accept the over-travel screw. A slight warning that this particular modification could void part or all of the warranty, so just a disclaimer. I've also replaced the detent plate in the safety, taking this from a Variant 1 firearm to a Variant 9, which means there is no decocking function. I will go into why on that a little later. Now let's go into the features that make this gun the king of tactical Tupperware. The first thing to understand is that this is a German gun from a German manufacturer, which usually means form will always follow function. In the firearms profession, that is inevitably what will bring you the best results. First thing about this pistol is the finish. Besides being your standard Tacticool black, all current HKs come with their hostile environment finish. It is protection of the metal from rust and unpleasant conditions. In my experience, this is one of the best finishes on the market. The HK45 has this remarkably tapered design that incorporates front cocking serrations and a standard Picatinny rail for all your pistol accessory needs or desires. The trigger guard is exceptionally roomy for gloved users, which is important to note that this pistol was designed with the gloved and ungloved user in mind. The HK45 comes with both ambidextrous magazine and slide release. And yes, it is a slide release. In a future video, I will discuss the slide release versus slide stop issue. Since we are on the subject of this, let's look at this particular firearm. I rarely use the grip over slide method of returning the slide to battery after a reload with this particular firearm. The biggest issue I hear is it damages the gun, or it wears the gun down. My advice is, buy a better gun. Better yet, buy this one. As you can see, after many uses of my slide release, this is the current state of my slide. Oh damn. It looks like it's starting to wear on the finish just a tiny bit, which is okay because even if the black goes away, the hostile environment finish goes a few microns into the steel, the cannon grade steel that HK uses. Which means HK pistols are one of the few that can actually claim the term hand cannon. I digress. The barrel is a cold hammer forged polygonal rifled barrel, also made from cannon steel. Because of this robust construction, this firearm is very comfortable handling plus P and plus P plus ammo with no risk of seriously overstressing the components. Next is the Ambi mag release, which in my opinion is superior to button style in every aspect except one. No, not every pistol gets the paddle release correct. Just look at the Walther PPS for that. After a little bit of time, this mag release is not only quicker, but every bit more intuitive and versatile. You can use your thumb, index, or middle finger, and it's rare to actuate the release while firing it. A little above and behind the mag release is the safety, and this is one of the things I think really shine on this pistol. It's a flatter version of the safety you would normally find on a 1911. It helps provide a shelf on which you can rest your thumb. There is no limit to the trigger variants on this gun, which goes to the versatility in most HK handguns to accommodate various users. The safety can also function as a decocker, which I will demonstrate on this USB Compact 9. However, as I stated before, I have removed the decocking function. You might ask why. Was it because of accidentally decocking the pistol during firing? The short answer is yes. And yes, a non-decocking safety makes a wonderful shelf to take just a tiny bit more of the edge off the recoil. This is, in my humble opinion, one of the lowest recoiling Polymer 45s on the planet, and it's attributed to this. According to H&K's website, this polymer bushing helps to mitigate felt recoil by up to 30%, which is incredible with a cartridge as powerful as the 45. I can in fact verify it does work. Up to 30% might be a bit of a stretch, but it has been noticed by myself and other people who have shot this pistol. The recoil impulse is smooth, and is one of the easier 45s to get back on target. With that, this pistol is very, very accurate. While most pistols are more accurate than their users, you can actually tell a difference between pistols and how quickly you can get rounds on target. While my USB Tactical 45 is an absolute tack driver, this pistol is more on the fringe of that term. But still in the realm, and still a bit more accurate than most other 45s on the market. Lastly, we have the grip. This grip is actually not the original grip intended for this gun. Later dubbed the Batman grip or Spider-Man grip, depending on what I assume, was whatever side of DC or Marvel you find yourself on, was actually a last-minute redesign before it was introduced to the public. The original grip was more like the one you find on the HK45C and the P2000 series of HK firearms. This was done to increase the ergonomics. It incorporates a full grip texture around the grip. This grip just melds the gun to your hand and keeps it there. It inspires the utmost confidence in holding this firearm. It also comes with a very unique feature for the time, an interchangeable backstrap. They come with two options, small and medium. The one on this pistol is the small, for those of us with slightly horizontally challenged digits. Of course, this firearm is obviously a hammer-fired pistol, which goes against the current trend of hammerless striker-fired firearms. I myself prefer hammer-fired, as it lends itself to being a historically more robust configuration than the striker-fired design, which is a debate for another time and another video, when I just feel like my self-esteem is way too high, and I want to imitate the movie 300 and try to withstand the onslaught of uncountable amount of arrows that will be other people's thoughts and feelings on the matter, and how I couldn't be more inept to hold, let alone fire, a gun. So real quick, let's jump into where this pistol falls a little short in the awesome category. First and foremost, while the pistol holds 3 more rounds than a 1911, it also holds 5 less than the M9, and for its grip size and length, it is a little disappointing. The USP can hold 12, and an FN45 can hold 15. Also, the trigger. While the trigger is perfectly fine as a combat trigger, it by no means will be confused for that of a 1911 or even a SIG. It has a bit of take-up, the brake is above average, and the overtravel is noticeable. Reset is positive, but longer than it should be without modifications. Some users have also reported that the trigger trough can bite your finger, making it uncomfortable to shoot. However, there aren't many who experience this, and there are solutions available. And the last thing that could be considered a con on this pistol is unfortunately the price. However, those are the only things that I can think of that stop the HK45 from being damn near perfect. Low magazine capacity, and a somewhat subpar trigger compared to even non-matched USB triggers. I will say that the rest of the matched components inside do improve the trigger. Other than that, everything on this gun is amazing to say the least. So the fit and finish are flawless, the form and function is masterful, the ergonomics and recoil mitigation are sublime. So for the hardcore user, let's get down to brass tacks. Just how reliable is it really? And what of other guns in the full-size class? I've shot all the firearms I'm going to compare this to, and just to give you a brief rundown of where I'm more inclined to the HK45. The Springfield XD45 doesn't handle the kick nearly as well, and the back pressure from firing it is more than noticeable if you're standing next to one. The Smith & Wesson M&P 45 has a terrible trigger comparatively, and the grip is not nearly as effective as keeping it in your hand as the HK45. Speaking of grip, have you ever tried to grip the FNX 45? Cheese graters could take a lesson, and it feels extraordinarily plasticky in the hand. The SIG P320 not only found a way to seem so front-heavy it could be confused for a piston AR, but also managed to keep a high bore axis on a striker-fired pistol. And lastly, holding the Glock 21, which is like holding a brick, except if you actually hold a brick, it somehow seems more ergonomic than the Glock. These are just my personal qualms. While these are fine firearms, they are in my opinion not on par with the HK45 for the reasons I have mentioned. What we need right now is some empirical evidence. Lucky for us, we've got some. And it's not only amazing, it's downright scary. Todd Green put an HK45 through hell. Over 50,000 rounds of 230 grain ball ammo in just 8 months, with only one stoppage and one random spring breaking. However, despite that, the gun remained functional. After 50,000 rounds, all major parts were still present and accounted for, and he even did it on the same 6 magazines the entire time. This gun went anywhere between 7 and 10,000 rounds in between cleanings. He rightly labeled the HK45 as bomb-proof. I believe a quote from his article pretty much sums it up. It reads, "I do not believe another .45 pistol could fire that many rounds in that short a time with that little maintenance and survive." In my opinion, that is one hell of a serious endorsement from a serious professional in the field of pistolcraft. God rest his soul. This gun was also the gun that was used to introduce Mrs. Thesteelknight to the .45 round. Up until that point, she had never shot a .45 in her life, which after only a few sessions, I was thusly informed that should there be any future divorce proceedings, I better not expect to leave the marriage with that gun. Despite her guns and all the other ones that I own, that one was going to be hers come hell or high water. Is there an accolade higher than that? I'm not sure. It should also be noted that the compact version of this pistol, the HK45C, was selected by the Navy SEALs as the MK24 Mod 0. Well, there we have it. The HK45 is the total package. It has the looks, it has the performance, it can even get the ladies, which is why I truly believe it is one of the most underappreciated .45s ever. Thank you for watching, and be on the lookout for future videos. This is Thesteelknight, signing off. Till next time, have an outstanding day.